Hello, everybody, and good evening, whatever time zone you are in the world. I am Commander Yannick, and this is the Apollo 15 anniversary expedition, the 50th anniversary expedition, and you join me in the middle of the mother of all instancing problems. Literally, this is the 11th expedition I've organised, and it's never been as bad as this, so it's slightly unfortunate, but we won't let that get us down or stop what we're doing. But as I say, the whole idea of the particular night's meet is to celebrate the touchdown of the most ambitious and today the highest watermark, or the zenith, whatever you want to call it, of human exploration. At least that's gone to the 20th century. Artemis will probably change that in the near future. We can only hope, and better things beyond that, to Mars and beyond. But at this moment, 50 years ago, Apollo 15, the lunar module Falcon, was descending from orbit towards the surface in a maneuver that's generally called PDI, the powered descent initiation. And that would have started, let me see, about 9 minutes ago, I think, as the crow flies. Good evening to those who are in Twitch land and in the chat here on Twitch as well. Hope you're all doing well. Hope it's having a happy time wherever you are, and hope we can entertain you on our own little way this evening. To say that, we obviously try to mix in, the fun of Elite Dangerous and a little bit of space history as well. I mean, it kind of gives it away a bit, doesn't it? Yeah, the Apollo 15 anniversary expedition. But as always, in the little sort of mini talks that I give before we actually sort of get into do Elite related stuff, because this is a particularly important one, being the actual landing anniversary. As many times as over the last few weeks, I have often let the people themselves, the astronauts, the flight directors, the engineers, the geologists, all the people involved with the Apollo program, and to tell their particular story. And what better way to do this than I'm actually going to show you a wonderful sort of simulation, but with the audio in the background being the actual original. And yeah, I will do that. I will start that in just a moment. As you can see out the background, we've got a gas giant and lovely mountains, and the rill. This is supposed to obviously represent Apollo 15 itself, and the mountains of the Apennine front and Hadley Rill itself. Still, on with the show. Everybody should also, in their instances, prepare to do a mass landing. Take to the air if you haven't already. I can't actually show this directly because unfortunately my instance seems to have collapsed, but everyone else would be able to see what they're doing in different streams. But I will give you the go ahead when it happens. So take to the air and we'll watch this now.
Roger, go at 6. Coming up on throttle down in about 3 seconds. The guidance system will back off on the thrust to about 50%, 57%. 2. And the crew confirmed throttle down, right on time.
Altitude 1,000 high, 8 about 4 high. AX-axis override drop. Seven minutes. 1,000 high. Seatbelt just about on. Oxidize run about 1% low. Okay. Oxidize are good. Okay. Check the manual. No flags. Looks good.
Falcon Houston, descent 1.
Roger, descent 1, and looks like P-64 at May 23.
Roger.
4. Okay? We have LPD. LPD. 5,000 feet. 4,000 feet. 3,000 feet. 2,000 feet. Okay, got a good spot. Good. 300 feet. Fudge, go for landing. 1,000 feet. 900. 800. 700. 47. 600. 500. 9% fuel. Minus 15. 400. Minus 15. MT-66. Okay. Minus 15. 300 feet. Minus 15. 250. Minus 14. 200. 150. Minus 7.
Okay, prepare to descend.
120 feet. Minus
Get
5.
ready.
Deb, that's less. 7% fuel. 100 feet. Minus 5. 80.
Stand by. And
60 at
everyone
3.
descend to the surface, please.
50 at 3. 42. 6% fuel. 32. 25. 2. 22. 52. Man. Okay, Houston, the Falcon is on the plane at Hadley.
And there they did it. Hope it all worked for you guys. I hope you all managed to all touch down in your mass descent successfully. 50 years ago, to this moment, Apollo 15 did shut down on Hadley Plain, the space between Mount Hadley, one of the highest mountains on the moon, and Hadley Rill, an old collapsed lava tube. Obviously hadn't been lava in there for millions of years, but it was a place of great wonder. And definitely one of the most amazing things a human being has ever set sight upon within the solar system. Obviously this sort of grandeur is something that sets Apollo 15 above and beyond pretty much everything else in the Apollo program, which is saying a lot, saying they were all very interesting in their own particular way. Even Apollo 11, obviously them getting down was the main thing. In Apollo 15's case, this was like going to the absolute maximum of pushing the lunar module. As you saw in the simulation, they were flying directly over the Apennine mountain range. They were skimming across the top of the mountains as they did that. At one point, 2 mountain peaks were higher than the lunar module itself as they skimmed another mountain on the descent. None of the other missions ever did anything that dangerous or that brilliant. Dave Scott was one of the most amazing pilots who has ever lived because of this. Now, if you think about it, it seems quite a good feat of piloting, but if you break it down, it is genuinely amazing. We are talking about flying through a vacuum in a spacecraft that has almost no strength whatsoever. I mean, it has basically the tensile strength of a Coke can, maybe less than a Coke can, because for example, during the manufacture of Apollo lunar modules, was once someone actually dropped a heavy wrench, and it went straight through the floor. That is how deliberately thin this was made to save weight, so they could actually get it to the moon. Obviously designed to operate in a vacuum, but that's why it was successful. Now you do that, you fly in something with less strength than a Coke can, across a mountain range at low level. That takes some guts, and it takes a lot of skill, a lot of confidence in your own skills and ability. Still, once they found their way to the surface, they did take part in something unique actually to them, what's called a stand-up EVA, which you actually just pop your head out of the docking port and have a look around, take some pictures. A bit like being on holiday, really, except your holiday's the moon. Quite amazing, really. A place of outstanding beauty. But I say this is why we've come to this place at the end of this expedition. This waypoint 8 is called in EDSM and the Galactic Mapping Project David and Goliath, named after the huge mountain ranges that you see before you. The idea obviously was to sort of, make some kind of comparison, or at least a sort of metaphorical kind of link between like the rills here and canyons next to the sort of sweeping mountains. And so doff our hats and our own little tribute to these very, very brave and very sort of skilled men, who did this half a century ago, which seems insane because like, you look at their spacesuits, the spacecraft itself. Okay, it's not hyper modern, but it still sort of seems more sophisticated than the late 60s, early 1970s could possibly provide. I mean, the commander of Apollo 17, Gene Cernan, a very famous man in his own right, the last man on the moon, declared that the Apollo program was like a small piece of the 21st century pulled into the mid-20th century. And I think he was completely right. In many ways, Cernan was the opposite of Neil Armstrong. He wasn't the world's best pilot. He was good enough to do what he did. Armstrong was a much better pilot, but Armstrong was not as eloquent in describing the experience. People like Cernan and Dave Scott, the Apollo 15 mission commander, were some of the most eloquent people, I think, in describing the experience of going not just into space, but to another world. I think about only to date 12 people in the history of humanity have ever stood foot on another world. All of those being on the moon, and all of those being, within a 3-year period of time. It was a very short experience, really. But Apollo was, I think, a blessing to the human race, and hopefully something that we will do better in the very near future. But for its time, it was mind-blowingly good. And as we mentioned before, their rivals in the Soviet Union, they did some amazing work as well. I mean, they did get to the point where they could orbit the moon in the Soyuz spacecraft. Yeah, a lot of people forget Soyuz was the Soviet equivalent of Apollo, and it's still around now. It's a very well-engineered spacecraft, but it was designed to go around the moon. That was its job. But in the end, it never actually got to do that. And it's a shame that Russia, or the Soviet Union before it, never actually decided to, let's just go around the moon just to prove that we can do it. It would have been nice for the space race, I think. I think most people would probably agree. But so for the rest of this particular stream, I'm going to stop particularly talking about space history and try and sort of rejoin a wing or a group somewhere that I can. We've had, say, some of the most horrible instancing problems that I've ever seen in Elite and on the expedition I've been on any other sort of group meeting. And it's just a pain it's happened today, and it's like, well, it's one of those things, I suppose. But let's go flying for a bit anyway and see what we can do. Those of you who are still in the expedition and in a wing or instance somewhere, continue and please have as much fun as you like. The sort of please watch element of the evening is over, but thank you for watching anyway. It's always very appreciated. I know most everyone here is obviously a fan of space, or you probably wouldn't be playing this game and doing what you do. But it's all beautiful. It's all beautiful. Right. Okay. Yeah, I will try. That's a good idea, B8. I will try instancing with you. Falcon, and I'm going to try and leave this particular wing and join another one. That makes sense because I say we've had horrible problems. I don't know how many of you out there have ever experienced this. You probably have. Lots of you probably been on expeditions, or if you haven't, you've maybe winged up with a friend at some point. Now, sometimes you might send a wing invite to somebody to invite them to your wing, or they send you one and say, "Have you got it?" It's like, no, I haven't, because they've sent it to you and it's not arrived. There's some weird bug in this that's never quite been sorted. But yeah, it seemed to be like so peripheral tonight, and it's just irritating. It's like, yeah, okay, I'll go wherever I can fit in, really, anywhere there's space in an instance. Okay, we have a wing invite. I will go literally wherever it is possible to go. Cool, let's follow the wing signal and see where it leads. Hopefully to somewhere fun. Yeah, these kind of bugs have existed for as long as Elite's been around. It's not necessarily the best advert for those of you who are watching who've never played Elite, but yeah, it can be irritating. I mean, to try and regularly instance more than about a few maybe around like 8 or 10, can be done, but it's hugely variable depending on the internet working conditions. Sometimes even the place that you're in, the kind of planet that you're on, seems that will have some kind of influence on it. And I mean, I know how to manage instances. I've led literally like some of the biggest instances in the game, like 50, 60 plus space instances, and on planets they're a lot smaller in terms of how sustainable they are. But yeah, it just gets irritating if you have an urgent need to do something or meet people and you can't do it. But that's a universal thing, isn't it? A lot of people today, I'm sure, were frustrated as well that they couldn't get into various wings and be where they wanted to be when they wanted to be. Still, as always with this place, I mean, especially of all instances, of all locations that one could be in Elite, this is definitely one of the most beautiful. So even me just flying around by myself, seeing the beautiful canyons, seeing the wonderful mountains, the way the light sort of hits it and it turns like light green at the top, it's genuinely wonderful, yeah. Okay, I think I have target acquired ahead. Keep on boosting until I get there. But yeah, it's you see the sort of the canyons. I nearly called them rills for a second, but I don't know if these necessarily meet the definition of being a rill, geologically speaking. Is it a rill? Is it a canyon? I think a rill particularly is a volcanic lava flow that has dried up. Pardon me. Or an old lava tube that's collapsed. A canyon obviously can be made through not just lava, but obviously through liquid water flowing through it. I wonder if it's possible for liquid methane on worlds that have that. I suppose it must be, but I never really thought about it that way. Because obviously there are different worlds in our solar system, other ones that do have a very different sort of geology. People are wanting to mass jump at the moment. Okay. That's fine. Okay, if that's the case, then I might head to orbit as well and see if I can join up with one of the bigger sort of flotillas. I'll send a message to them to say that. Okay, I'll join one. Right, we're catching up to the signal. Thank you, Commander Dirty Irish. Thank you for your compliments. Yeah, that's true, Nivane. The liquid methane carves rivers on Titan. I was trying to think to myself earlier that this is something that does actually exist, yeah. It's racking my brain for which bodies it applied to. But yeah, there you are, right, it is actually Titan, isn't it? I think I'm coming across a wing signal to a ship that isn't actually there, which sometimes happens, but it's like a phantom signal. Oh, that's annoying. I think I have to go to orbit instead. Yeah. Yeah, phantom wing signal. I'll head to orbit and try and establish the instance there. Yeah. At least we have a mass jump. That's always going to be fun, isn't it? Right, I'll head to orbit now to try and find a nice place for a mass jump to happen. I think on the stream particularly they always go across well. This time I'll actually wait somewhere, not the front, but maybe in the middle of it, so I can see everyone jumping out. Because obviously I'm often leading these things at the front, and I see one or two people overtake me. We don't see the entire thing until someone else has streamed it or videoed it. So it's a different perspective, really. Right, as always, if you're doing one of these events, it's always a good idea to try and find as spectacular a sort of direction of jump as you possibly can. Thank you, Dirty Irish, for subscribing. That's much appreciated. Thank you to anyone else who's subscribed or followed recently. It's always great. It helps the channel, and it's always much appreciated. Yeah, this is another side effect, I think, of the game at the moment. They were taking a while to initiate even getting into Super Cruise. It's somewhat frustrating. Yeah. I'll see how long that takes. I'll catch up with the chat in the meantime. No, that's true. The up one in Tonio, yeah. That's absolutely... Yeah, well, you will get to see a mass jump as soon as the game actually plays ball with us and allows us to see what we want to see. Orange Sidewinder here. Yeah, this is the thing. Orange Sidewinder, for those of you who don't play Elite, is basically an error message that the game gives out. It gives out these series of colour and ship names, and the ship's usually named after various kind of snakes. So, hence Orange Sidewinder. Yeah, no, that's right, Kit the Brit. Yeah, his computer says no tonight. It really is. It's very annoying and it's very sad. It's like the one time you want it to work and it doesn't. It's like, please play ball with me, please. Just once. Yeah, it is funny. Weird thing is, like for the Apollo 11 expedition, did pretty much the same thing. Did a mass landing. Worked perfectly. Try it this time, everything goes wrong. Oh wow, the game has crashed. Error code Orange Sidewinder. There you have it, people. Yeah, the famous or the infamous Orange Sidewinder. Oh my. I think that means the connection with the servers is temporarily gone. It doesn't actually mean that my local internet connection, the internet connection seems to be fine. Everything else is working okay. I'm going to try and get back in as you do, as quickly as I can, and hopefully this is a bit more stable this time, you know. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just paying people, so I'm going... and we're going to orbit soon for mass jump. Yeah. Okay, so I seem to have appeared above the surface, 200 kilometers above the surface. Okay, that's not so bad. I'd rather head away from it because instancing is going to be easier if I do that. So yeah, the frame rate is not the best right now, but I'll do what I can. I might try and join the voice somewhere else. We'll join another voice chat, I think. Yeah. Some people in orbit already. Let's fly away a bit from the planet. So I'm outside the gravity. Oh, I can see a few commanders here. Interesting, cool. Right, I'll move slightly further away from the planet and then pick a nice target to which to fly through. Actually, I'm going to go to the rings and use that because that's always a good one. Yeah. Which voice chat should I join? Who is free-ish? Who will I join today? Mac Winston's? Oh, voice 5. Yeah, let's go to voice 5. Actually, who's trying to wing me in right now? Whoever they are, I will join them. Okay. With Delta Centauri, where art thou? Yes, you lose our K language time. Right, where is Delta Centauri? I'm trying to find him within the bounds of Discord. Let me see. Okay. I'm just asking if he's in voice chat at any point. Right, let's go to this gas giant here and use that as our place where we're going to jump through. That makes a lot more sense. Okay, this is cool. This will do nicely. Yeah, I'll stop about here actually, and they'll give me a nice angle of approach. That's always the thing, when you're an event leader, you're always looking for the most spectacular angle possible. And that's sort of the main criteria, really. Okay. To be fair, we did do this, I think, previous one, but I won't tell anyone if you won't. Okay, I think I'll drop in somewhere else. Maybe number 5. Okay, cool, I'll do that then. Good evening. Hello everyone in Voice Chat 5. How's it going? Am I actually being... Hello?
Yes.
Excellent. I decided to drop on you guys because you're literally the smallest active voice chat at the moment. So I hope Sigma doesn't mind me doing this.
Oh, cool.
Overshot.
Right.
You like.
At the moment, I've just dropped near the gas giant, so we can use that as a mass jump site. If you want to join me,
Right.
please do. I'm going to cross my fingers. We're going to have some damn luck with this one because we've had literally the worst instancing tonight I have ever seen. And I'm not joking. I'm not exaggerating for comic effect either. And those of you who've been doing this for years can probably agree with me. This has been really, really weird. See, people are just dropping in now, just like that. You know, really easily too. Okay, which one? Brian has just dropped in.
Right.
Okay, which one is Brian in right now? And also JBL has dropped in. Are they in a different one completely to us? Or are they just not in the voice chat at all?
Okay.
I'm just trying to find out.
So let's see.
Are you actually in space now?
Yeah, I've completely come to a stop in regular space. I'm gonna
okay.
what I'm gonna do. I'll start looking for a jump target while everyone else can just sort of, because we've already got in this wing. In the instance I've already got Infernal Moose. So just a brilliant name every time I see it. JBL, as in barely O version of JBL. BE8, Brian as well are all here. I will try and wing anyone that I can in, but I say there's no guarantee that's gonna work. I will try.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try whoever wants it basically, but don't assume that it's gonna work. I will try you, Sigma, first, just in case it does. So, it's just the error message has come up again. So bingo.
Oh, hello. I made it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah,
actually, people are seeing each other now. Well, I'm seeing people. It really helps. Okay, let's have a look. Let's go to the star map and see what we can dig up. Okay, let's have a look what the choices are today.
Try to do a mass jump out. Did I understand correct?
We are in a minute. Yeah, I'm just looking for a jump target so we can mass jump. Say today's meet was going to be short, but it's going to be even shorter than normal because of if we're having all these struggles, it makes sense to just do whatever we can while we can. And then just save the actual proper sort of serious meetup for tomorrow, which we're going to do anyway. The idea was always going to be this was going to be like a 45-minute to an hour. A bit like the launch, really, you know what I mean? Similar to the launch, just like do this stuff, get on with it, and then we'll like have a more serious meet the next day. And yeah, the launch was a bit smoother than this, I will say.
That's not a good idea.
What's not a good idea? Someone collided with you?
No, starting.
Okay, cool. Right, I've got to go into...
all these SRVs on the Type 10.
Oh, wow. Sounds good to me.
Right, we're still down. we're still down on the planet's surface,
That's
just
fine,
getting
that's
into
fine.
shenanigans at the
Yeah.
moment. So.
Cool. We're going to do that. We've got a while anyway. Yeah.
Right.
As I say,
So,
like
we'll start making our way up.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, yeah, I'm just like getting stuff together anyway, so it's no particular hurry at all.
Okay. Yeah,
Just keep on
the
going.
the mass landing was a success. We were
I'm
just listening
glad.
to your stream.
It was very
So-
surreal for me, to be honest, because
so
I was
we knew what to
imagining you
do, really.
doing it. Because
It went
obviously
well.
I've like
Yes, it
it has
went
happened
well.
before, but I've had to
Nobody
do this
crashed.
just doing it completely blind. Oh, well, I'm glad it worked
Oh
though.
God.
I'm glad it worked. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the main thing.
Yeah. We
Tell you
had
what,
about.
I was really appreciative of Yannick. I really want to thank you for the simulation that you posted of coming over the mountains with the lunar lander, because I'd never
that was pretty good.
because I'd never really gotten a good perspective of that landing before. I'd heard they come into this fairly interesting spot to land, but I'd never actually gotten the perspective of, oh my goodness, they actually did skim the mountains coming over.
Yeah,
Unlike all. Yeah.
exactly.
Yes,
As you
the
say,
only
it's
thing
amazing.
that I remember every time, what you see on TV is the last approach, and you see basically it's quite flat.
Mhm.
The topic is quite flat.
I think
This
that's
part-
mainly because the camera that's on the lunar module that everybody would have seen on the television is just pointed in the wrong direction. It's pointed direct.
Mhm.
Oh, it
Sounds
was
like a
the Titan.
T10 or a
Yes.
T9.
It's a
I think
Titan.
he was trying to fast track back into space.
Really?
The Suicide
Possibly.
Express.
Yeah, the old-fashioned way.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, no, I really appreciate that because especially with the view out the commander's or the pilot's window of the LM, where he would have actually been able to tilt his head properly to look forward, as opposed to the camera that we all got, the camera view angle that we all got on the television way back when. So yeah.
100% that, exactly. As you say, because the camera, you see it on the TV looking forward out of the viewport, is fixed. So you can't see, obviously, his head movement and what he's doing, but they have obviously like described it, and they've gone through the motions in like, simulations and stuff. But yeah, it is amazing, isn't it? I say of all the Apollo flights, that's the one that sticks out in my mind. I mean, I think it seems to be like the what's the word for it? The sort of choice almost when it comes to people who know a lot about the Apollo program, just because it's like you could argue like the last 3 missions, because they were like the J series, they were the science-based missions, did the most in terms of like scientific investigation, etc. But where Apollo 16 landed wasn't visually that interesting. Apollo 17 landed in a valley, which is probably about the second best, most visually interesting kind of place, and the most dramatic ones or whatever, which is kind of cool as well. But like Apollo 15 wins by a huge margin when it comes to just the sheer like breathtaking scenery of the place. And as you say, nearly like skimming the mountains as you come down. It's kind of, I mean, I've been a fan of piloting in space since I was basically walking, but that's an extreme thing to do, isn't it? You've just got to blank out all external sort of stimuli and just focus on that, because any slight mistake and you're just toast, and there's no way you can come back from that either. No way you can get rescued. You probably wouldn't survive the impact anyway. So it's like just an amazing people, really.
Of course, they had to, modify the lunar module to handle some extra weight on the J missions, because of course they had to haul up Dave Scott's gigantic balls.
Yeah. No, it's funny, isn't it?
Everyone on all of the missions.
Sorry, could you repeat that? You're breaking up a bit.
Hey, you could say that of any Apollo pilot, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the integrity on those things makes a smart car look like a tank.
Oh, good
yeah,
Lord,
yeah.
yeah.
No, it's...
I was noting earlier that if you've ever seen a display of a lunar module in a museum somewhere, just the mock, or because I know there are several lunar modules that have never been used, and they have them on static display, both the upper and lower sections. But those have to be modified or held up by wires because the lunar module cannot actually hold itself up in gravity. The landing legs would collapse under normal Earth 1G.
Yeah.
So anytime you've ever seen one in real life on the ground here on Earth, it's been modified in order to do so.
Yeah. Because some of them were also like not the actual lunar module, like training versions, which are obviously like built in the shape of a lunar module, but they're not built in the same way. Because obviously they are designed to be walked upon by people under 1G, and some of those are the training modules. But you're right, the actual lunar modules that never flew, like for Apollo 18's lunar module that never flew, is like the one that I think you're describing that's held up. Because I think it may be the only one that actually was totally complete, but never did a mission. Because obviously, like 18 through 20 Apollo landings were cancelled, and the bits of it were reassigned to other things. But yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It's like there's also these different like bits of the Apollo program all over the world, really, and mostly in the US, but you do get some bits outside of it. Like I say, the Apollo 10 command modules in the Science Museum in London. I think a few bits on loan to various museums around Europe and Canada as well. But it's just you can get to see this stuff, go and see it, because it's remarkable how they went to all these places in such small machines. Both the command and lunar modules, it's like they're tiny places.
I think I'm gonna need a wing invite.
And then there's the whole aspect of your smartphone in your pocket has more computational power than not just what flew, but what the entirety of NASA had.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the smartphone has more computing power than the computers on board the ships and whatever was in the back room at Mission Control.
And then some.
Totally.
Yeah. But if you actually, I think Scott Manley did a good video on this where he was noting that although they aren't as powerful in raw computing power, what they are doing with their job, your smartphone still couldn't do because your smartphone is just not set up for it. And of course,
it's all the programming for it.
Yeah. Plus, it's also they had to, there's a certain amount of planned obsolescence and stuff like cell phones and computers and all that, cars, which is just you're not going to see that in spacecraft. Here's a good example, just a real world mundane example of what I'm talking about. Your average car is it's meant to break down. You are supposed to get a new car every few years, but you can't do that with airplanes.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Great.
And if you've ever, there are many examples of planes like Cessnas from the 1950s that are still around and look in pristine condition because you do not build planned obsolescence into aircraft. And so they didn't plan for that sort of thing in spacecraft either. I mean, look at Voyager.
Oh yeah.
That's more a case of running out of nuclear battery and just transmission power.
Yeah, it's going to do that eventually, but the actual parts of the spacecraft, if they could get a new power source to it, would actually still function just fine.
Yeah.
You're saying about aircraft there, I just think it's the same with helicopters as well.
Oh yeah.
And it's more of a passion for me.
Yeah, or the rotary wing aircraft.
I remember going to Cape Canaveral as a kid. I think I was like 7 years old when I went there. That was very fun.
Target system. Okay, there we go. I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, we're
Closest
jumping.
System on the list.
We'll jump at 22:10 to give everyone enough time to like do what they need to do, get everyone else involved as well and winging in, because obviously because everything's been so fragile today, I don't want to push my luck with this one and say, let's jump on the hour, and then at the hour we're having to keep delaying it. So let's say 20.
Right.
Yeah, that would make sense. So, not 22:10. Sorry, that's
okay.
wrong.
Now
That's
I
wrong.
know where everyone's pointed.
23:10. Sorry.
So now I can actually line up properly.
Wow, that's an interesting paint job for. I think it's an Orca.
Yeah.
I
think it's if you're talking about my Orca.
the red one.
Mine's the red one. So yeah, it's another one there. Arthur, quick go. That's a good point. I'll go to external camera actually to identify what you're talking about. And also to hello anyone on the stream. This is where we are and what we're doing. Yeah.
Commander Wilk Magic. Oh, it looks like he's got a bespoke paint job.
Yeah. What, do you mean the member one or?
I'm talking about the red beluga.
Beluga, exactly. It's a beluga. It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
It's a different instance to me. 'Cause
But
I can't
everybody's
see a
got
beluga,
cool.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Oh, okay. I must be in the.
No, this is a current theme today. It's like, even if you're in the same voice chat, you're not necessarily in the same instance as somebody.
Oh, right.
It's all fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that happens.
Apollo White, that this aspect's
Yeah. There's
me
like,
on all of Distant Worlds 1 with.
that's very
All the
good
differences
actually. That
as
is
the decals.
a genuinely vintage ship then. Yeah.
Why I'm in the shadows and the other one is in the. What is shadowing us right now?
I don't
And
know.
the ship-
Planet?
Okay, we're building this
Exact ship took
nicely.
me through. Exact ship
The,
took me
the
through
beluga is
all of
starting to
Distant
get
Worlds 1.
dark. Something is.
I
throwing
think
shadows.
any ships like that have done you well and will, have served you well over long periods of time are definitely worth for special occasions. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, nice.
Last
think-
kill light year and a half.
This ship, but I haven't.
7 and here is when I flew this, because it's a lot slower. It only has the 33 light years.
If anyone's in the instance and they can wing people in, please
Engineering.
help and to do that, because it just makes life easier and we can wing in a lot of people together
Okay.
if we keep doing that.
Who needs?
Let me see
invites?
in the chat. I think is it Johnny Flash needs one. Because I'm external camera at the moment. I can't do that and wing people at the same time.
I can do Johnny Flash. I can do Johnny Flash. I've already got one of my friends.
Cool. Thank you.
Right, I'm gonna try and wing as many people in as possible.
Thank you.
I gotta say, the instance I'm in, I'm looking at like 1, 2, 3, we got a good number of people in here.
This one's a smallish one. We've got
looking like
about 10
20
people.
20
yeah.
people.
That's cool. Yeah, if you can get that many.
No, you've got more than
Far
10
more
now.
than 10 right now on the radar. I think far
Yeah.
more than 10.
It's not
There's-
far more, but it's
There's a bit more. I mean, and the main is I'm looking at maybe to the edges of the camera. If I look ahead, then there's probably about 12,
1,
I
2,
reckon.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
no more than that.
Let's see what the
About
contacts
15.
It's
list
little,
has.
at least 15 or 16.
You see, I'm in the external camera at the moment, so
Oh, right.
yeah, I don't actually. I think I can see about 12, maybe 13 ships, something like that. But that's the weird thing about instances. Sometimes someone might appear on the
7
scanner,
One.
and you can't see them, or vice versa. So it's just it does get weird at times. It really does. Yeah, we'll try and jump at 10 minutes
That's
past the
17.
hour.
17 ships, including myself, on the contacts list.
Okay.
Organic.
Okay. I believe you.
Respectable.
And only one FTO.
Yeah. I like the sort of tropical paint job. That's actually pretty cool. Oh, actually, it's a man, but it's not an FDL, so yeah.
I was gonna say, mine's in my fucking Purple Pirate one.
Oh yeah. No, the man at the moment, I'm just admiring the paint job on that. So yeah, but it's cool. Yeah, I forget that Kit's sort of out there. Sorry, Delta is out there flying around, doing his thing.
Yep. As always.
Yeah, you like you're having fun doing it, so I'm not gonna stop you.
Yeah, I'm rusty as hell, so
You might as well.
gotta
Yeah.
get-
We're here to have fun
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, you know what you're doing.
I'm not gonna. Wait, yeah, it's me. Of course, I'm gonna know what I'm doing. And before I crash into someone and just like blow someone up in like a sidewalk or something.
Please do not blow up the museum piece. It made it to Beagle Point and back.
I won't.
Yeah.
I won't.
That's why you're at the front there. You're there deliberately for that, so that you don't get crushed in the melee somehow, you know.
That's fine. I'm a better pilot than that.
Yeah.
Famous last words.
To be fair, Brian, you're actually in the best position possible to keep that ship preserved. Yeah, I'm crossing my fingers when I say that. But
well,
famous
the fact
last
that it has
words.
no engineering means that the shields aren't like reduced in any capacity.
Okay. Yeah, it's a nice little group. Ooh, and the Rasmus just come in, so that's nice. Cool, cool. Right, I will be back in just one moment.
So we have still people that are not in. Is Johnny Flash in?
Yeah, he
Did
is.
someone invite him?
Johnny's in. He's the one that NX said just dropped in any aspects.
Lubber. Did the one wing for Lubber? Lubber. There's someone Lubber?
Lovably.
More we guys.
Well, that T10 did make a big boom.
Yeah, it did.
Jeez. Just in the picture.
Yeah.
Okay, hey there in the chat.
Oh.
Hey, Mac Winston. Yeah, we are talking about old planes sometimes as well. I mean, I know you love talking about anything old engineering-wise, planes especially. It's always wonderful. Anything aerospace, I'll always talk about. It's all good with me. But yeah,
I need to have a chat with you about helicopters then at some point.
That's aerospace as well. That all counts. You know, it's still a rotary
I know.
wing
I'm just saying.
aircraft.
That's why I'm saying it. Said at
Yeah.
some point in the future, me and you need to have a chat about helicopters.
Oh, absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm like,
I think you probably know more about them than I do, but I know enough to have a conversation about them. Sure. Yeah.
yes. Like I said, I do love my helicopters.
Yeah, it's all good. It really is. Okay, we've got about 13 minutes.
There's
to jump.
there's a joke I once heard about helicopters. Helicopters don't fly; they beat the air into submission.
It's not totally
Can't
wrong,
argue
though,
that.
is it?
No, it's really not.
One thing I
Yeah.
will say there is British helicopters equals best helicopters.
Yeah.
No. Martian helicopter is best helicopter.
Okay, that's a different planet though. There's a bit of difference.
Yeah, a little bit.
Best what?
A little bit. It's
Still
all
best
fine.
helicopter.
Best earthbound helicopters are British made anyway. Anyway, I'm going.
Oh, I got it.
on.
There's some good helicopters from many
little-
nations, you know, American, French, Russian, British. They're all a lot of very good ones from different countries. It's true.
I will stop. I will stop before I go off on a massive rant.
I think you know what it is when it comes
If
to
I
aircraft.
said, if I mentioned,
Mm.
if I mentioned the big Sikorsky single rotor sky crane, would anybody know what I'm talking about?
I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
Rings a bell, but I can't
Think
remember.
so?
Yeah.
Rings a
I
bell,
can't,
but
I don't know the I don't
Mhm.
know the exact model, but it's basically
yeah.
the type that lifts air conditionings on top of buildings.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I have a mental picture at the moment of this. But
Right. Got a story about one of those.
Okay.
My brother and I were flying in Piper Comanche from an air meet in Texas, and there's a helicopter port across the runway from the private hangars. And we were coming in, we would notice that, oh look, there's a big Sikorsky down there. Yeah. So we were coming in to land, and apparently they're doing some kind of hover test or something. He's like about 6 feet off the ground and just hovering. We came in, and as soon as we got parallel with him and just about to do the flare in for the landing, all the lift got knocked out from under our right wing.
Wow.
All of it.
Oh my.
And my brother is because of that Sikorsky was basically blowing all the air the wrong way, and my brother saved us by just pouring up full throttle and yanking back on the stick, and doing a sharp kind of upper right turn. Had to go around again, and apparently the Sikorsky guy had seen what had happened. He got hit, and he got his big chopper down on the ground.
What's happening?
We're preparing for mass jump.
Oh, are we already going?
No, not yet. I think someone just asking what's going on.
Why are they jumping?
People are dropping in. There's people dropping in.
Yeah, that's it.
What's
I think
that?
someone.
Whoever jumped, they did it prematurely.
There you go.
Oh dear.
but
It
you-
happens.
those-
That was
When you get,
Commander SP4H.
I think with an aircraft though, as you say, like there's
That's nice.
sometimes, if in doubt, just like full throttle and pull away, because it's better than that than go and smash into something, isn't it? Unless you've got no fuel left, you have no choice. Always do that if you're in doubt,
Yeah.
What are we doing now?
We're just waiting for the
Well,
time.
I don't know about anybody else, but the instance I was in, everybody jumped for some reason.
Yes.
I went ahead and followed them, but okay.
Oh yeah, it must be a different instance because we're still,
10 past.
we're still waiting. Literally, a few
Yeah.
people are still coming
Reagan's
in. So.
lying ours.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Reagan's
I mean, we're
lying
9
us.
minutes away from jumping. We haven't done anything yet. We're just literally like fucking about and rotating and like being ourselves.
I think I'm the only one. I'm the only one in the other instance right now that did not jump.
Oh, really?
We still got people coming in. Yeah, even now. So
6.
actually, that isn't.
we
That's
did- we
actually
just
just
did
Kit
our
doing
mass
his
jump.
thing. Ah, okay, cool. Yeah, I did think
So-
I'd
so
go.
that
Well,
was-
okay. I guess I'll go ahead and bring another ship in and do it again. Why not?
So,
If you
yeah,
make
that-
it in
that-
time,
that was-
fair enough.
I was going to say, I just hopped in because I heard all the helicopter talk.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Lured you
anecdote.
in.
I was at Gloucestershire Airfield, taking on fuel, and it was a busy day, and there was a helicopter sightseeing thing in a Bell 206, and they were hovering a fair distance upwind of us, but we were downwind of them, and it's amazing how far the rotor wash were doing. I mean, we were shut down on the ground waiting for the guy to put fuel in the tanks, and we had to grab hold of a strut each as the rotor wash came down and tried to turn the plane to point at the helicopter. So yeah, you got to watch out for helicopters.
And someone from the other flotilla that's not jumped sent Darkstar a wing invite, so maybe I could join the second one.
Anyway,
If you want to, you can get into
That's
the
all I
instance
have to
quickly
say,
enough, please.
actually.
Do.
Oh. I have a recommendation for a video. There's several versions of this on YouTube, but if you want the funniest possible and the darkest humor possible of a helicopter story, look up Bill Burr helicopter story.
Okay.
Just trust me.
Yeah, Nick, I recommend you don't do that on stream. Just
No,
saying,
no.
'cause it probably breaks the OS.
Yeah, don't do that on stream. Just go look at it on your own, laugh your butt off, but don't broadcast.
Yeah,
that.
no, I wasn't going to be fair. I was going to say I'm going to wait till
intrigued.
later. Anything that might be considered to be like violating PG-13, broadly speaking, I'm not going to be doing on stream. So, this isn't like Apollo 15 After Dark. Not yet, anyway.
After dark.
Oh dear.
Exactly. In space,
Well,
it's always
if we have
dark, so it's a
dark, all
really
we have
awful
to do-
joke.
Yeah, all we have to do is go in the dark side of the planet. We have this real easy.
I hate that. I hate that. I hate bad jokes like that.
Yeah, it's not the worst we've
Somebody
ever
did
heard.
it. They had a character do it. I remember on Babylon 5, one of the characters made a joke like that. That goes, "I'm always terrible in the mornings when it's dark out," and they said, "We're in space. It's always dark out." And the other person says, "I know.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, we just had a crate drop in.
Yes, it's me, Doxa.
Cool, blue crate.
Nice.
Yeah. Excellent. I own a blue crate as well, so good company, definitely. Yeah, we got about 6
Full-on
minutes
5
to
was
go.
such a fantastic show.
It wasn't bad. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I thought it was all right.
I've never watched it.
It's okay.
I think I watched like 3 episodes.
Yeah,
I
some
think
people
it
really
really
love
is.
that. Yeah.
You got to kind of invest in it.
I mean, yes.
Mind you,
I think a similar following to like Deep Space Nine. Again, you like have to watch that all the way through to really make sense of it because they're huge story arcs. I mean, I love Deep Space Nine, but not everyone does because not everyone's watched like whole series of it. But yeah, but anything that I think any kind of series that requires like you had to watch the whole story arc, I do need a lot of investment of your time and attention. It's true, you know.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
I hadn't watched Star Trek for the first time until I was 17.
Oh wow.
Because my parents aren't into sci-fi. Well, no, I was into Star Wars.
Well, that's good.
Because I'm only 25. But yeah, Star Wars was like the big space thing for me.
Better late than never, right?
Like
That's
they just didn't watch. They just never watched Star Trek. Too nerdy for them, especially my mum.
Yeah.
Didn't even like Star Wars.
I think one of the good things about my household is, to be fair, everyone likes sci-fi, so that's a good thing, you know. But still, it's always cool.
Me, my dad, and my brother like. Jesus Christ! That jump.
I was going to say that Conda, that was just straight in front of the camera. The sort of the banana coloured one. That's cool.
Zigma.
Well, welcome, whoever you are. I'm going to switch back to main camera now in the ship. Cool. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to thrust up a bit vertically so that everyone can kind of overtake me as we go out, so I don't get smashed into. Because for once, I'm actually going to sort of let most people jump before I do, so we can get this on the stream. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm usually one of the first to jump, or at least like second or third or something. So yeah.
Oh, 3 minutes.
Yep, indeed.
Correct?
Yeah. Yeah. I will try and send a wing invite to... Who's bashing into me already? Oh, dearie me.
I saw that happen.
To which... What's the target system that we use?
Oh, it's
the
in the
first
chat.
one in
It's...
the list.
Yeah. The nearest
C20
one.
TAC 7.
Yeah, yeah. Now I'm confused who wanted a wing invite. Yeah, this is
I had
Infernal
to, yeah,
Moose.
I had to.
Okay, right.
He's in.
I can't actually find anyone on
to know
my
they
list.
could send me one.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you can find anyone in this list that you can, but I don't actually have these people on my list at the moment, so I don't know what else I could. Oh,
Yeah.
Infernal Moose is already here. Fine then.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
just said.
Oh, sorry, I was just reading. I'm catching up
I'm
with
gonna
with
need
like the
to,
text from a few minutes ago. This is the way though. It's like if you try and organise anything like this, you'll have to do about 4 or 5 things simultaneously, and I'm doing the stream. So it's like some things kept to me like have happened before, and it's like, oh, that's not now. That's happened 5 minutes ago and stuff. So yeah, it's it complicates your life a
Why
bit.
I organise things,
Yeah.
and that is why I don't organise this stuff.
Minute
Fair
and a
enough.
I'm gonna need to take my leave. Again, my time is not my own, so
Fair
I'll
enough.
hopefully be back in about 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
So
Have a good one.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Right,
Bye-bye.
coming up for a
Bye.
minute count.
Yeah.
The Krite has the landing gear out.
Hmm.
It's probably on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm identified as his FSD already charged, so
Yeah.
I did.
If you want to spool up, please do so. We've got a minute to go before we jump.
Is there still people trying to get into the instance?
I don't know,
You
to be
charge
honest.
before, you don't. You charge and then accelerate.
Charge
Yes,
now.
Charge now.
Just don't go forward.
Exactly. Just don't
don't thrust.
throttle up. Just throttle to 0 and charge up.
So someone gonna? So it should also work with external camera if you accelerate, right?
You can if you want to. It's entirely
It'll
up to
cut
you.
out of the camera as soon as the countdown
Yeah.
starts.
We're about to start the count anyway, so ready in stand by.
Throttle up slowly if you want.
In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hit it.
The stream still shows you as charging.
Yeah, the stream's like 30 seconds behind. There you go. Nice.
And roll away. Yeah, the stream's a bit laggy at the moment, I'm afraid. It is a bit behind. It's catching up now, I think.
My camera kind of got clipped by that clipper as I went past.
Yeah, and we've all got to the sun.
It's very
I mean,
bright.
I haven't, but that's good.
All the probes flying around as well. Who's probing the star? I know it's for show, basically, isn't it?
See this.
It's all for
I
show.
saw this the first time. How is that possible?
Oh, it's nice.
Anything's possible.
Right.
FDev.
And for those of you who are still doing the meet
probes are
tomorrow,
the only thing you can see in Subarus.
That's true, yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, I was just about to remind anyone who's wanting to do the main meetup tomorrow, because say Light the Launch is supposed to be like a short meet and a main sort of like 2-hour job, and the final one and one that people go crazy for is tomorrow. It'll be kind of similar. Like I'll have a very short talk at the beginning, and then we'll just do all the things we can and just destroy as many SRVs and SLFs as you want, basically, because that's the name of the game right now. The Demolition Derby is on. So I'm going to go back to the carrier in the Waypoint system soon, because we're going to meet there tomorrow and it's going to be fun. Cool. So
Headed
Delta
back to my carrier. Gonna log off because I got other things I need doing.
Awesome. I'm going to be flying around for a little bit.
I only see.
Sorry.
It seems that I only see the probes of the others, but my own doesn't seem to glow that way.
Funny.
Yeah, you can see it through, I think.
Ah, cool.
It's just usually they fly away.
Let's go back to the Waypoint system. Like the shortest jump imaginable, almost. There are shorter ones, I suppose, but yeah. It's great to see so many people out today, though. I'm very happy to see the numbers. Right, now it's a question of which carrier do I go for. Do I go for one that I have been to before, or one that I haven't? Let's have a look at any new ones I haven't seen before. Dauntless, I think I've seen around before. One with it basically been blanked out. Yep, don't think I have. Onion, not landed on that one. Good name. Squeaky Limpet, my favourite name carrier of the expedition. Medal to that guy or girl or whoever. Could be a Thargoid for all I know. Ship for Brains, yep, I do know that one and the commander. Right, Zoot Allures. Now, I did actually go to this carrier briefly for repairs on my alt account. Oh yeah, Bloomhaven, don't know that one. Endeavour, that's Kit's carrier, isn't it? And also named after the Apollo 15 command module. Yeah. I think that's a funny thing. I don't know if Kit's probably mentioned it. He probably has actually at some point in his flotilla, but I think he actually did some of his bachelor's degree on Apollo 15 landing site in crater formations or something. It's very specific. So he actually had a personal involvement in it. This is from a British university, so he wasn't in NASA or anything, but still really cool. Orion Shoulder, yeah, that's a good name. 3V Explorer. Not heard of that one before. D-Scan, yep. CMBO, I know that one. HRC Yukazi, yep. Cool. Crazy Ivan. That's a good name. Johann Strauss. Also a nice one. But I think I'll go back to Numa where my other ships are. So that's awesome. Yeah. See how many people are actually still with me in the voice chat. There's probably nobody. Oh, there is a few still. Hello, everybody.
There's still quite a few people.
So I think the last one, it was like, I was at one person after 5 minutes after the jump had ended. And so it's like, oh, hello?
You haven't got rid of me just yet.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, it's cool. It's really a very different kind of meetup, this one, but I'll watch the videos later on for Mass Landing. But yeah, because it's quite funny. My original plan was to actually have like a split screen between the simulation of the Apollo 15 landing and us all actually landing for the Mass Landing in Elite. And unfortunately, I couldn't get to do that, so I had to quickly change to like a full screen version of the sim instead. But it would have been even cooler if we could have got the split screen working. But hey ho, it's one of those things. Right, where was I going? Yep, to Numa, wasn't it? Some reason it doesn't seem to have locked on, which is weird, but no worries there.
I've got my Wayne beacon up, although I don't know if it will work because, well,
no worries.
Elite.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm probably gonna just cruise over to Numa and dock there anyway.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, because I'm landed there right now.
Oh, well, you've already got there. That's cool. Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, because I didn't jump, did I?
Oh, to be fair, I wasn't actually watching you individually. I was just like watching everybody else and seeing what was going on.
No, I've saved it on my shadow play as well, but
fair dues, yeah.
Because I'm in my combat ship.
I did wonder for a second. Thought, how did he get back to the carrier that quickly? That's pretty remarkable. Then, you didn't actually jump. That makes a lot more sense now. Yeah, I like some of the pictures. Johnny Flash got some good ones there about the streaks of the probes across the sun. That's really awesome, actually. I do like that a lot. Yeah, not often you see that other than expeditions, I suppose. But yeah, no, that is seriously cool. I like that a great deal. Anyone who hasn't seen it, Johnny Flash, if you're still listening, try and post that in the Images channel because that's a really nice picture. Both those are really nice pictures. Don't think he's in voice chat actually. Ooh, I'm about to overshoot because I've been too busy looking at Discord, as you do. Right. I was going to try between the rings, but I don't think I will. I think I'm just going to try and gravity break. Yeah. Slingshot or gravity break.
Oh, yep. I just saw you whiz past.
Cool. Johnny Flash is quite a way away anyway. Cool. Numa's pretty close to the gas giant. It looks good though. There was a thing about moving around the edge of the gravity well and then going inwards. It's always the quickest way to move in sort of these heavy gravity environments. I know most people know that, but anyone on the stream who is either new to Elite or has never played it before, this is one of the best ways to navigate around a gas giant. You sort of don't go too close to it until you have to. It's got a very strong yaw in this spacecraft, for whatever reason. Never worked out why, but all these like Orca, Beluga, and the Dolphin, the same family of spacecraft, all seem to have that characteristic, which is pretty cool, I suppose it makes sense. A certain manufacturer having certain, tendencies in their craft. Yeah, that's a nice picture there, Enigmatic. I like that a lot as well. Yeah, here we go. Oh, I see Kit Delta Centauri is already sitting on the carrier, basking in the glory of the gas giant in the background.
I mean, underneath, so.
Oh yeah, whichever way around it is. So there's no real up or down.
Well, no, but I was like, I wasn't on the surface.
Oh right, I see. It just shows your signal at the moment. I'm assuming you were sitting on the surface. Oh. Okay, fair enough.
No, now I am.
Okay, it's a nice looking gas giant though. I think that kind of blue is like quite soothing looking.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I suppose that's one of the reasons.
Shame it's not icy rings though.
No, true. Actually, that's one of the reasons we play Elite, because of the beauty of these various worlds, isn't it? Yeah. I've got all my ships stored in this one as well. On this account, my old account, I was parked in another carrier, but yeah, this one's cool. Commander Just Barely. Also the expedition. Yeah, I might sit on the deck here for a little bit, actually. Just taking a look at the gas giant. What can you do for me? Well, I'd like a billion credits, please. Actually, so sorry, I'd like actually £1 billion in real life, please. But no, that's not going to happen. If only I was as rich as I was in the game, I wouldn't have any worries anymore. But that's not really a thing. At least not yet. You never know. I think there's a lot of us are that way. It's like game rich, but real life is like, yeah, I'm not really that rich in real life. Oh, I landed in 07. Excellent. I didn't actually plan to do that, but here we are. That Bay 07, yeah. Yeah, so it's slightly pale, not pale, but pale blue streaks across the surface of that gas giant. And the graphics aren't remarkable, it's just very sort of appropriate, I think. Very pretty. And with a nice sort of ring system. The carrier is at quite an interesting sort of angle to the ring. It's kind of inclined rather than in the same plane by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think so.
It's interesting though. I'm just like scanning the external camera across the surface. Oh yeah, I can see Delta's ship there. Actually, let's zoom in a little bit closer, because he was just moving around a lot during the actual mass jump formation. But yeah, that's a pretty cool looking ship. I mean, I do have an FDL as well. It doesn't have that paint job, but that's good.
Yeah, I think I kind of had to buy this paint job for reasons.
Yeah, no, it's cool looking. I like it. No, I think
I've got quite a few different ones.
Yeah, I think we all accumulate them over time. Good ones. No, I do like that. That's a very good paint combo, because it's like asymmetrical. It has a certain je ne sais quoi to it.
I can't even remember what decals I've got on it at the moment. I've just got the skull ones.
Yeah, that's what I'm noticing. It's just got skulls, really. I can't think see any.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. I just your stream's just I unpaused your stream.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I've got the skull because I pre-ordered the game literally the night before it released.
Oh, nice.
So I got those decals.
Well done. Yeah, I think I bought the game like within the first month of its release anyway. So yeah, it's pretty early. I wasn't like the early, because some people you meet like Kickstarters or got all lifetime passes from that very early era, and I wasn't quite that early, but you know, early enough by general standards. You know, it's cool though. I think, to be fair, at the time, I think 2012, when it was announced that Elite was going to be Kickstarter and what have you, I had a friend of mine who'd like played earlier Elites, and he was very skeptical that it was actually going to be a thing. But I was actually fairly confident it would happen, and it did happen. And it's genuinely wonderful, you know, that it came to fruition, and here we are, you know.
But it was quite difficult, the Kickstarter phase.
Oh yeah.
About in the half, it was getting slower and slower and slower. Because the amount that they claimed, 1.25 million, was I think the highest ever pitched at that date. Many had smaller amounts and did get far more money, like Star Citizen, for example. I think they had only 800,000, but they had stretch goals and get far more. But Frontier did 1.25 as minimum, and that was quite difficult to get.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't up on as many of the details of like the early like Kickstarter era, like beta, alpha, gamma tests of it. I sort of read things about it in the press or online. I read a few things as well at the time. But I was kind of convinced anyway, so it didn't really need much convincing to buy like the game on full release when it came out. But yeah, it's
I was over years looking at the website of Frontier for news on Elite 4, let's say it this way,
Mm-hmm.
every few months. And then I took a look again and I saw this announcement. I didn't even know what Kickstarter is, to be honest. And was quite shocked that it finally looked like it will happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's just, you know, you were talking about the things slowing down. I just for a second was thinking about the present. You know, like the recent Odyssey, is it update 6? That's actually brought my game to such a slow speed. I can't really even play it at the moment in Odyssey. It's like it was actually playable fairly well till about like update 2. Then every update afterwards seemed to have slowed it more and more, and it's getting silly now. But my laptop's not that great for Odyssey, to be honest. But it's just, I can't really even play it anymore.
You have to check the settings because they changed again and they pulled out the AMD and they have it standard on the FSR.
Yeah, I can't use it. It's just grayed out. Yeah. I think mine is quite an old graphics card, so GPU. So I don't think it can't use that. It's always grayed out for me.
You said about when I started playing Elite. For me, after I played it for a few weeks initially at launch and then didn't touch it for a year because I got scared of jumping. I used to hate jumping. I used to hate fuel scooping. And then a few years later, like 2 or 3 years later, I met some friends for a stream. I came back to Elite, got over my fear of jumping, joined the fuel rats, did my 0-second rescue in the Adder, which I always brag about because I was the first one to do it.
Really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's a genuine thing to boast about, I think.
Well, yeah, literally, no joke. I was the first fuel rat to do the 0 seconds.
Well done.
I'm certain you've heard me brag about that one before.
I probably have, but it's just that it really sunk in, like how impressive that actually is. You're like the first person. I think in my mind, I remembered you being like one of the first, but not the actual first. I think that's probably.
No, I was the actual first.
Okay, well that is genuinely impressive.
And I did it in a bloody adder named HMS Fugly.
That's a funny name.
Because the first time, the reason for that is the first time I got the adder and like sort of looked in the external camera, was like, Jesus Christ, that's fucking ugly. Hence the Fugly.
It's not a great looking ship, is it, the Adder, to be honest? No, not really.
But it did the trick for my early fuel rat days.
I know what you mean. It's like those smaller ships, they can be great fun. I mean, my first exploration ship was a hauler with 17 light years and like a basic discovery. When there actually was such thing as a basic discovery scan, it's not been a thing for years now, but it was amusing and it worked. It came back in one piece and that was my first trips. And this is like pre-DBX years as well, so that wasn't even an option at that point. So, yeah. Oh, there's a nice sort of asp has just landed there. I think you can see this from the outside as well. But then again, it is a mobile station, isn't it? A fleet carrier.
It is.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, it's an interesting looking thing as well, this particular class of fleet carrier. Because it looks a bit more sort of, I don't know how to describe it, but I don't know, it looks more something out of, not Elite, but maybe like Alien or something, another sci-fi series possibly.
Yeah,
maybe it's
I can see
influenced by that. Yeah.
I can see that because of the rounded nose.
Well, there's like corporate mega ships in Alien.
Yeah. Whereas you get some with like the more, what I would describe it as more hammerhead look.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
Which one is this?
The one that we're on right now is a Nautilus class.
Yeah. The Numa.
Yeah, and then I can't remember the name of the one that I was referencing because it's my mate's carrier and it's in the bubble and I cannot remember where he left it. I can probably see it actually. But I can't remember what class it is.
Yeah, no, it's they're not cheap things to keep up, but it's worth it. Yeah. Yeah. I was debating myself if I should save up my main account for one or not, but maybe not. Considering that I can just hitch the ride on lots of other ones quite easily, I might not bother, but I'll see.
That's what I do.
I mean, now there's the what is it? The Fleet Carrier Owners Forum, Fleet Carrier Owners Association, whatever it's called. It's a Discord where you can obviously look at who's doing all these various journeys, not just around the bubble, but between like the bubble and Colonia, the bubble and like Beagle Point, all these kind of other places as well. There's like regular services to Colonia. It's like going on an airliner. You sort of like see when it's, or a ship in the old days, I suppose. Like see when it's leaving, when's it going to be in Colonia, when you're going to get off, and so on and so forth. And it's nice. I did that once actually. I went to Colonia just by getting on it, and then I think 2 days later I was there. I just logged in 2 days, and bingo, I was in Colonia without having to even do anything. Quite surreal, really.
I think my mate used it to refuel his he used a similar service to refuel his carrier once, because he'd gone out with some other mates exploring, and I think at the time it was when tritium was like very rare or some crap like that, and I got a bit stranded. So fortunately, random people came out and refueled his carrier.
Well, that's very nice. I think the community will always do things like that. It's cool when it happens. The Colonia thing was kind of quite surreal for me personally, because I used to be part of a Colonia faction, and we just flying between the bubble and Colonia became almost like a sort of semi-regular thing you do, and you got used to doing these like 22,000 light year distances on a like regular basis, or almost regular basis anyway.
Didn't you used to lead the Colonia network or something?
Yeah, I was one of the custodians of the Colonia Citizens Network, CCN.
That was probably one of the first Discords I was on with you. Probably.
Yeah, I think probably. I don't know if it actually was the first place we ever met, but it was one of them. I'm pretty sure it was, like an early one.
Yeah.
I think.
Although we never really talked back then.
Not much. It was just like one people you might say hi to once in a while. But you're right. I mean, I wasn't a custodian at the very like peak of CCN, but like just past its peak when it was still like one of the biggest groups in the game still. So it was like that's like another sort of claim to fame of some kind, I suppose. But yeah.
So my claims to fame I should probably not mention, but
well, the fuel rat one's pretty cool. I mean, that's quite hard to top actually, because most people are going to respect that. To be honest, most people respect the fuel rat. So
yeah, and I remember as well, because I used to do the dispatching occasionally as well.
Yeah.
And I got it without having to do a dispatch drill, because I'd do it in like off hours, so like early hours of the morning UK time. And Boltmar was just like, okay, yeah, you know what you're doing. You're not even gonna need to do the drill, just because I'd been doing it for like quite a few months at that point, ages, and I'd done so many rescues. I think I must have been close to 50 at that point.
Yeah, it's impressive. Yeah, I've known a lot of fuel rats and hull seals, and always hats off to you guys. Yeah, it's a very worthwhile service, and a lot of people seem to enjoy it as well. So being a part of it.
I used to be so goddamn focused when I was doing it. I used to be so hyper. Yeah, I used to be really hyper focused. I remember, I think there were a few times I got kind of annoyed when I picked up on things that other people hadn't. Because that's the thing, is like, it's sort of like art imitates real life sort of thing, because it's obviously not to the same, nowhere near to the same degree as emergency services in real life, but
sure, of course, yeah,
to a much lesser extent it is.
Yeah, I think you made the point actually to me fairly recently.
Yeah,
that
I did.
A lot of the time, yeah, exactly. A lot of in-game systems tend to like mimic real life ones, but to a lesser degree, obviously, because they're kind of simplified versions of real ones. Like you say, for like first responders, fuel rats, hull seals are like lesser versions of a real one. Obviously, because obviously it leads quite a complicated game. They're bound to like reflect real life to some degree in that regard. And it's, the only problem is where people start to take it too far in that regard. They try to like bring in too many real world systems into a game. It's like, do you realize this is a hobby for most people? Unless you're like a high end streamer, you don't usually get paid to do this. And it's like, so people are doing this for fun. It's like, please don't like make these like huge treaties and stuff. It's like, it's very nice that you can do that, but most people aren't going to like that, or they're not going to pay attention to it.
Yes.
I think an Asper's just landed on the pad behind you. I saw it approach, and that's pretty cool.
Been paying attention.
Yeah, no,
looking around on the tracker,
nice.
but
I don't know if it's actually an NPC one or not, but I haven't checked it. I'm just literally an external cam at the moment, just flying about and having a look.
I think it's just Johnny Flash. I think it's Johnny Flash.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, hello, Johnny Flash.
Yeah, Johnny Flash, because he's still annoying.
Yeah, so you get zero color in that one. It's a nice look, actually. I will say, I do like that. It is pretty. I think whoever the visual designers for Elite are generally do a very good job. The amount of detail. I mean, we've said this many times, I know, but it's like the level of detail is quite remarkable on the ships and space, all these sort of space stations, the fleet carriers, all of it really.
Sound design, that's the big thing for me.
That's the other one as well. I think that's the other thing.
Amazing. Yeah.
The sounds. I don't think I've met. Well, no. What else I mean to go at that point? Like, I don't think. All the sounds in Elite feel very satisfying for me.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I laugh at some of the boost noises sometimes, because it's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, but the Orca one's like bing bong.
But that's like appropriate.
It's kind of funny though, yeah.
It's funny, but it's appropriate because it's a bloody passenger ship.
That is true, yeah.
But I meant like some of the noises from it. Just there are a lot of very satisfying and appropriate. Basically, the sound design is really bloody good in this game.
I think everyone I've ever spoken to exactly about Elite has always agreed on this. Everyone thinks sound design is wonderful. Universal praise in that regard, yeah.
Yes.
The squeaking of the metal when your ship is fighting the gravity, it's amazing.
I do wonder actually if like the continuity of personnel that Frontier maybe had like the same like sound designers for years, because lots of other areas of the gaming people are like come and gone, and you can kind of tell like it's taken a different direction when different people take charge. But in sound it seems to be very, very similar, so it's like maybe it's literally the same people all the way through. It's entirely possible.
Maybe, but at the same time I think it's a very definitive style in my opinion. Like my read on it is like it's Elite has got its sound, it's got the way it wants things to sound, and they can just sort of like, especially like from the launch, like they've got this basis they can work off, and like build off and like branch off. That's my take. I mean, I know cool about that sort of thing, but that's just like I said, just my take on things.
No, it's cool. It's fine. I'm just looking at the front of the Asp here, and it's easy to forget that there is actually like a little second sort of cockpit immediately beneath the main cockpit for the, second person gunner, observer, general passenger, multi-crew person, or whatever they are. I like the Asp. It's a nice ship. I think most people have owned them at some point for exploration purposes, and it works well.
I made some pictures from the same fleet carrier I'm on right now.
Oh yeah.
One with Horizon and one with Odyssey.
Okay.
The lighting on the fleet carrier is also totally different.
Just looking at the chat, yeah, Darkstar, exactly. It's much more strongly lit and much more bright. I see in the Odyssey one.
It looks more metallic, shiny metallic than the other. The Horizon is more. I don't know if it's only the light. It's more light from getting from outside, and this is why it's not. It's more shiny in Odyssey. I don't know.
Yeah,
but it looks quite different.
Yeah, I do agree. It's different.
The gas planet is mainly the same, but the interesting news, I didn't thought that the fleet carrier would look so different.
I agree. It's surprising that actually. I don't think I've docked with the fleet carrier in Odyssey so far, so I didn't really notice. But you're right, it does look very different, and you say the lighting is quite different in Odyssey for so many things. It's surprising how much they've changed it, because there was no real sort of need to do that, or there was no particular interest from the community of changing the lighting system, other than in very small and subtle ways, you know.
And maybe because of optimization or something.
Yeah, I think Johnny's flying around on front of me to maybe show off. He's doing a little bit roll on camera. Oh, that's cool. Fair enough. So zooming out a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, at least before the mass jump, I didn't crash into anyone.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, to be fair, you're not getting perfectly in control anyway. You were doing fine. No problem.
For the most part, and also I wasn't being being a complete idiot and flying through the heart of stuff like I did at the launch. I did do that a few times at launch. I might have boosted through the pack a bit. I decided not to do that today.
Okay. Yeah, I think you were. It was absolutely fine. You just kept flying around sort of randomly, and it looked good. The only thing that confused me slightly at times, because sometimes, like, because I was looking at the external camera, I see people like come out of Super Cruise and enter the instance, but then sometimes I think that you were a new person. I just see the lights and the trail, you know. It's not surprising, is it? But there you go.
No.
It just happens all of a sudden. It's like bam, right in front of your eyes. There's this bright light.
Well, the thing is, it didn't help that my trails are white. My engine trails are white, and yes, there is a tactical reason for that. As the same reason why my weapons are white.
Okay, that's
There's
interesting.
An actual tactical reason.
I did wonder.
There's an actual
actually,
tactical thing. Because it's can be well, you've probably never been shot in the face with PAs, but it can be quite blinding when they're white.
I have been shot down by them actually, so I do
the white
remember
ones
this.
in the
Not in the
face.
face though. I don't remember
Yeah.
that. No.
Yeah.
I think they were blue actually, as far as I remember. So
Yeah, the white ones are especially bad for it. So.
Yeah. I think it was coming from like an angle, so it wasn't in the face, definitely. So, yeah.
Yeah, but.
I can see what you mean now. I can see how that would work.
Yes. Anyway, let's probably get into a time that I shouldn't talk about on an exploration.
It's okay to talk a little bit about sort of PvP.
No,
it's
I
okay.
don't want to get.
But as we said before,
I don't
it's non-consensual PvP we have a problem with. Is in like if it's perfectly consensual, no one has any issue with it. But it's unconsensual PvP.
Yes.
That's a problem, you know. But I think there are some people who I do know who are explorers who do, PvP with other people's consent, and that's always considered to be fine, you know, as long as you're doing it in the right PG as well. Because obviously this PG is strictly for. This is a PvE private group. It is not for PvPing whatsoever. Just make that clear to anyone that's watching. But if you want to do PvP, go to either open or another private group that doesn't have the same rules. But yeah, it's all fun. It's all fun and games. I'm not really a big PvPer, but I know Delta here is actually quite a big PvP guy.
I was.
You got the skills still, though. So yeah.
Not to the same degree I was. I'm way off my peak now, but I used to be pretty good.
Better than most people, I expect. Though.
yeah, but that's not hard. That's not saying much, to be honest. I'm being brutally honest there. That's not saying much.
Yeah, I suppose like anything, if you've done it to a high level, you're going to have much higher standards, and you're going to be much, more scrutiny, higher scrutiny on yourself than most people will. Yeah.
Because the thing is, as well, as I used to fight some of the best PvPers in the game, so and like even some of them I used to train with, so.
I think that's about that ganker we had the other day. I think it's okay to talk about this sort of very briefly because obviously the video is out there by now, so people probably know in the wider community. But the funny thing is that ganker, he was so amateur, it made me laugh. I was thinking that really is the best you can do, attacking like ships on the ground and like really sort of lame combat in the skies. Like you're like a fifth-rate PvP. It's like, to be fair, it's like. I haven't been hunted down, or as far as I'm aware, I don't think I've been actively hunted down by, top line gankers for years. But it did happen at one point because one person got slightly concerned. I think on the Discord a little while back, saying about me potentially being on a hit list or whatever. So like, no, this was a while ago, but I'm assuming that like gankers like big expeditions, and that's the reason as to why people like myself and other staff members might be targets. But the only thing I'm saying is in the past that some of the big name gankers did go after me and were at least partly successful. So yeah, I do have to spot a good PvP pile. I can't do it myself very well, but I know how to spot a good one, And this guy definitely wasn't good,
the one thing, the only thing I'm gonna say, because obviously if people have seen it, I was referenced in it, but that's blatant.
Yeah,
bullshit.
of course, no, it's complete bullshit, isn't it? You're not.
The one thing I will say was, the one thing I will say is, it was laughably pathetic. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, totally. It was 100% pathetic, and it's like, look, and I don't like being ganked. Nobody does, but with the top level PvP pilots, you do at least have to doff your cap slightly to their skill, and I do. I've always said this. Some of the top PvP pilots are genuinely excellent pilots, and I do respect that level of skill. That is true. I don't like it when I'm being shot at, but
some of the most controversial figures in the game.
Absolutely, 100% that. But that's the point. I admire skill when I see it. That's absolutely true. But on the other hand, this like the recent ganker is just like, you're not even skilled. Just don't waste our time with this nonsense. If you're gonna do it, at least be like good. It was just so sad. Yeah, it's okay. You can laugh as much as you want. Anyone who wants to laugh, you can.
I just find it funny. There's just what you're getting like of this whole thing.
Yeah.
I just find it funny. This is like.
Well, you remember I was famously shot down by Harry Potter in the middle of a CCN sort of anniversary meet.
Yeah,
a lot of people remember that, and I remember that very well because it was very public, But that's the point. Yeah, so that's a good point. One M7C and Potter have both gone after me in the past. So it's like, those are high level ones, particularly
Rinsler especially was.
Really good. He was. He was also part of that attack party as well.
Harry wasn't especially good, but he had the technical knowledge.
Yeah, he was good at exploiting game mechanics, but
And shipbuilding, he was very good at that.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he's really that active anymore.
That's not how he got banned.
Oh, fair enough. That's that then, really. I don't think Ryan's that active either. Rinsler, I think, still around.
I don't keep track.
Yeah. No, I'm not really even sure, to be honest. I hear these things from people from time to time, But I think most of those SDC people aren't really active anymore, as far as I'm aware. As I say, I don't really keep tabs on all of them in the first place. I hear things from time to time. That's all,
There's been, from my experience, there's been very little in game that would keep them interested.
Yeah, and that's what I hear as well. So, it's all the past, really, isn't it? As I say, we're talking here about kind of almost totally about past instances and past things that happened.
Those sort of some of the pilots we just named, I do obviously respect. They were good in their own respect back in my day.
Back in the day, yeah, exactly. Back in the day
when I was this is like 2017, 2018.
Yeah, it was that kind of era.
3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
God,
that's the thing.
Such a long time ago.
But yeah, the guy we encountered in the stream the other day, he was a baby. I mean, it was just so lame to watch, and it's like, also like your ganking video, it was just badly edited. It was lame, and it's like, he was talking about salt from people. It's like, wait a minute, me warning people to just run away, and because you're an exploration ship, you can't really fight, can you? You're unarmed. All you can do is run away. How is that salt? Doesn't even understand what salt actually is. That's not salty. That's just like common sense.
They're claiming to get people. From my experience, anyone who's trying to mount so will cling to whatever they can get.
Of course,
Any reaction is a good reaction for them.
But
we should probably move on from that now.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to say, like as a final word to that, is then it's like after sort of SDC and allies making videos that were, shall we say, not always like particularly PC, but kind of, they put effort into them, to be fair. That's what I will say. But it's just like this guy, so like, dude, seriously, this is just so lame. It's almost like, why do you even try? Well, you don't try, do you? You just don't even bother. But let's leave it at that. But it's lame on every level, basically. Bad ganking, bad editing, bad videos. It's all terrible. It's like, put some effort into it at least. You know what I mean?
So I just keep on laughing because there's this PV known for his exploration shit talk.
Yeah, I know.
It's just funny.
Yeah, it is kind of funny in its own way, isn't it? But we can laugh about these things. That's the most important thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the most important thing is just like not take. I always find this game is not taking things too personally.
Well, absolutely. I think some people do, and it's just wrong. You know, it's just you can't take it too personally. It's just, I mean, yeah, stand your ground to whatever degree, and don't let people walk over you. But at the same time, as you say, it isn't that important at the end of the day. We have nice communities, sure, and we make friends and get on with people, and we try to preserve those communities. But yeah, there is a limit to it. That is true, and you know, some people just become very sad and kind of a bit warped, and you know, there you have it. But yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, I'm like, I tend to be very much chilled out. I do whatever the hell I want.
Sure, absolutely.
And that's the way I think the game should be. People do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I am alright to swear, aren't I?
By now, I think, considering it's like past midnight, I'm pretty sure, and we only got 22 people watching anyway, so at this point, the odd swear I think's okay. I mean, I think that technically I'm supposed to put like the mature tag on or something if it's like lots of swearing, but once in a while, that's why I say like PG-13, because like I think that's okay. Yeah.
I was gonna say, because you know I'm Yannick, you know what I'm usually like, and this is very tame for me.
Yeah, this level is fine. This level is okay. One swear once in a while is okay. You know, it's perfectly cool. But yeah, it's
at least I'm not swearing every other word like you've seen me do in other places.
That is true. Yeah.
Just to allude to things.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, anyone listening to the stream now is getting their money's worth. You know, they've got lots of stuff. I mean, if you don't know who all these people are we're talking about, look them up because it is kind of interesting. It's part of the game's history, and yeah.
Like I said, like these are whether people like them or not.
Yeah.
It's like some people obviously hate them. To some degree, it's understandable, but whether people like it or not, these people did have an impact on the game.
Yeah, 100%.
Kind of give them that respect.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And yeah, there's like I remember back when in my early days in Eidos Armada, I remember hearing stories of like the real glory days, hearing Eidos and SDC fight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I got to quite experience many of them myself, but
yeah. No, it is interesting, but as you say, it's like it's never really been my world. That, but I say I still like have known enough people who are involved in that world to like understand it to some degree. But yeah, but it's fine. It's like who you want to do that. I mean, I have done the odd like, you know, obviously completely consensual PvP battles with people, usually other explorers or who have had like a sideline in PvP, but you know, nothing really serious.
I don't think you've ever had a training fight against me.
No. I don't think we've ever had like a gloves off fight or anything like that. No, where you'd like use any weaponry you want and do it, because you probably win in about 5 minutes, to be honest. You know.
It depends what sheep you got, because.
Yeah.
I'd want to. One of my favorite things we used to do back in the day was coming up with weird loadouts. I used to absolutely love that. I would back when we did the Eidos Armada internal PvP league.
Yeah, I can understand the challenges for that. You know, those leagues I think sounded all right, because that seems like a very healthy way to do PvPs, and like you get league system rather than just people randomly trying to like gank each other at random times. Yeah.
But the thing is, it was a set agreed upon rules. If you didn't like the rules, then basically piss off and don't enter.
Fair enough.
The league, or the tournament, or whatever. And there was like a lot. Like there's a lot of people like, and I can't remember exactly who, but I think Harry and like Rinser, for example, did like help organize that a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other people that did, like even some people from like Nomads. I think Bazinga.
Yeah.
He was another somewhat controversial figure. Well, gank people, but they were good for that sort of thing.
I do remember, this is just my observation, maybe from the inside maybe it looked different, but it does seem to me that a lot of the sort of ganker groups tended to actually become a lot more like focused on the leagues and less focused on like ganking explorers when the league became a thing.
Yeah.
We generally found a lot fewer attacks when the league became a thing. Maybe just their attention was diverted into that, and you know.
Yeah, and it was sort of like trying to sort of like, I suppose, because like you've got like the CGs and wing fights and etc. And they could get, depending on the group size, they could get like, for example, like one group like for example, back in like peak when I was with Adels, we would have times where we'd have like 3 or 4, like anywhere from 2 to 4 wings going around, and at that point, like we were somewhat good about pulling the other wings in, and like if you've got a numbers fight like that, like and it's unfair, it's just like even then, like, in a CG, it's going to become a bit of a shit show. Like that's just things tend to be devolve.
Like
I do remember.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I do remember. I think after I left AA with the PvP core, there was some people. I think it was like lawfuls versus unlawfuls in Era of 8. That was like one of the biggest battles I've ever seen. I think it ended up being a 24 on like 24 or something. The lawfuls
Pretty
got
big,
absolutely. Yeah. Like people like couldn't see other people even like. It was absolutely chaos. And then like bear in mind like you would have multiple wings as far as I'm understanding on both sides, you would have multiple wings in the same voice trying to communicate and focus different targets. That was one of the most fun experiences I've had in Elite today.
That sounds chaotic, yeah.
It was. I mean, like, I absolutely loved wing fights. That was always my jam. But
yeah.
That was a bit mad.
It just reminded me, you saying about CGs. It's like I obviously heard something about this kind of stuff and saw some videos, obviously, of various people, like going into open and like opening up on people in CGs. But obviously, if you're in the open and you're in a CG, you know the risk. You know there's going to be gangers out there, and you know there's a chance they're going to take a pop at you. So, I mean, to be fair, in open, I suppose at least everyone knows that that's the case. If you go to open, it's a risk.
Some people still don't react very well to that, and then there's some toxicity. I've said I'm not sure if I said it on a stream before, but I will say it. There is way too much toxicity on both sides. Some people, there's obviously, most people will not know. Obviously, there was some toxicity from the PvP side, and there are times where I think it definitely crossed the line. But there was also some really bad stuff from the PvE side as well. That was pretty disgusting in my opinion. But that's why I just don't care for it. I've always been one of those sort of people that sort of like I bridge the gap. Like I've always been one of the people that, oh hey, I've got friends in exploration, I've got friends in PvP.
No, I know people like that. I know not just you, but a few other people who are the same as well. That they're not particularly toxic people at all, but they do PvP, and as you say, like they have friends in different places, all just do different things and different occasions, so they're sort of like trusted by both. And yeah, there's not many, but there are. I do know some people like that. Yeah, they do exist certainly. Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. Like, I think you're right. People take it too far. Generally, in any part of the game, it's a bit much. I think we were alluding to this sort of earlier, but it's that sense of, like, especially, and this is only because of just personal observation with like certain PvP groups and what have you. But I think when people, if you get ganked in the game, that's one thing. It's just annoying. But when people like took it into like personal abuse, like out of game, that's taking it a bit far. Destroying a ship, it's irritating, but that's just one of those things. But then you start like going after the person out of game. It's like that's crossing a line. It really is.
And
it's unnecessary.
Back around the time I left, I really stopped having to do anything to do with it. There was a lot of like you would get Discord raids.
Yeah.
People reading Discords, which I'll call it what it is. A lot of it was, well, no, not a lot of it. All of it was just way too far. In my opinion.
There's no point in that kind of level of it. It just gets very childish and very.
It's just at that point. I'm gonna use one of my swears again. It's a fucking game. Like, just chill the fuck out.
Absolutely, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's just like. It doesn't need to go that personal. Like,
yeah, true.
I get it. Like people like passionate about stuff, and like I get that. I'm a very passionate person myself. But like, just take it easy sometimes. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's as you say, it's taking things too far. It's just like it's a waste of energy. Really, you don't need to do that, and it doesn't really help anybody. It's like gaming whatever style you want, but. Just don't let it become like a personal sort of storm. Or what have you.
I mean, like, the thing is, like, I've been guilty of taking stuff too personally in the past. I've been guilty of getting too involved in things, especially back in like 2017, 2018. even to a degree 2016. Like I was, I mean, that was when my gaming addiction was at its worst. But I did take things too personally to a degree back then. I mean, mostly that was critical at myself. So it wasn't like I've been toxic at other people. I was really toxic at myself. That's because I'm just not, for the most part, not an outwardly toxic person. But
yeah,
I think I'm going to head off because I've got work in 11 hours.
Yeah, I'll have to
10 hours.
End the stream as well, because this is a good point to end it, because I'm at pad 07 as well, so like the perfect place to end it. So yeah. Okay, thank you for everyone who's been here today, whether it be in Discord, following on Twitch, anyone who's been obviously in the game instances on the expedition. We have one more meet tomorrow, and I'll hopefully see you then at the usual time of 1800 in game time. That's 1800 UTC. And I'll put some reminders in my Twitter as well about that. But thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful, and fly safe. If we can't do that, fly dangerous or any way you want. Have a good one, people.